Hey everyone, this is David. Welcome back behind the velvet rope. Let's just get right into it today because we are joined by the one, the only Miss Mackenzie Phillips.
Hi, everybody. It's me, Mac.
How are you today, Mac Phillips?
You know what? I'm doing well. It's a very sort of cold and, well, not, I mean, cold by LA standards. It's a chilly day in Los Angeles, a little bit overcast. I'm here in my office at Breathe Life Healing Center in West Hollywood, California.
I love a chilly day in LA. I'm in New York and it's a chilly day here. I'm like a fall person. I don't necessarily like the summer.
Me too. Bring on the boots, the sweaters, the scarves. Yes,
This is why you have your flannel on today, isn't it?
that's right. I'm such a good little ally, aren't I?
You really are. Um, we're going to get into all that in a second.
Okay.
But listen, when you look back at your first film role way back when you were 12 years old in American Graffiti, which is now almost 50 years ago, do you remember that? Is it like, who the hell was that? Or do you really have vivid memories of getting that first role?
Oh, I remember a lot. I remember that I went to Waldorf school, like sort of a very it's a very interesting type of education. So I was a Waldorf kid, and my son was a Waldorf kid, and I was in a band at school called Chris, Laura, Adam, and Scott. My first name is Laura, so the band was called Class, and we were performing at the Troubadour here in LA, which is a very famous club, on Monday night, which was called Hoot Night, like open mic. And I was in this little band and I was the lead singer. And we thought we were so cool. And a gentleman named Fred Roos was there, and he was casting American Graffiti. And he came up to me and he said, "Hey, kid, how'd you like to be in a movie?" And I was like, "Oh my God, that would be so cool." So I was a total Valley kid. And I ended up auditioning against 250 other girls, and I got the job. And I thought, I'll be honest, I thought we were doing like an after school special, or you remember, after, I don't know, you're probably too young, but there were like
The
after school
ABC
specials.
after school specials, yes.
Exactly. I didn't really know what we were doing. I thought maybe it was an educational film. I didn't really know. And then boom, it was the highest grossing film of 1973, I think.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was a big deal.
And also, for those of you all listeners out there, watchers that don't know, American Graffiti was George Lucas's first studio film. And of course, we all know what George went on to do. So that was his first movie.
Wow. So pre-Star
Yeah,
Wars, George Lucas.
that's right.
Did you, because you were born into a family of entertainment, like with your father, being in the Mamas and the Papas. Did you, before that, like you had a band, like did you want to necessarily be an actress?
No, I wanted to be the nasty girl with the guitar. I wanted to be like the rock star. Um, and then I rode the acting train in the direction that it was going for many, many years. And it turned out to be quite remarkable run for me. But I'm a singer, I'm an actor who can sing. So I've done Broadway, I've done many national tours. I had a series on Disney Channel, which, by the way, is available on Disney Plus. I signed up for Disney Plus just so I could watch So Weird, which is a terrific little show where I played a mom who was a rock star traveling on the road with my kids. And in almost every episode, I get to be the girl on stage with the guitar singing rock and roll. So it was super fun.
What type of music do you like in real life? Like, who are your favorites?
Like, I really, of course, love classic rock. I'm a huge Jackson Browne, Joni Mitchell, James Taylor, the Stones, Led Zeppelin, all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of what I like to listen to. I live with my 34-year-old son who's into a lot of melodic metal. So I do listen to some, very sort of melodic instrumental metal. And it's so interesting when you think about metal, a lot of it is very similar to classical music at its root. So I love music, I love singing. There's a lot of different influences for sure.
Interesting. When you say girl with a guitar on stage, I just think of Joan Jett. Like when I look at you and I think of Joan Jett.
Exactly. I had this show, a funny little show called Hollywood Heartbeat in 1980. And it was just before MTV. And I was the host of this funny little show. And I got to interview Joan Jett sitting on the sidewalk on the Strip in 1980, in the middle of the night. It was super fun.
Wow. Well, shortly after American Graffiti, you got your breakout iconic role of Julie Cooper in One Day at a Time. So, I mean, that was pretty quick. Like for someone who wasn't sure they wanted to be an actress, like, you know, people go through years and years of struggling. And I mean, it all kind of happened relatively quickly for you.
It's like one of those stories that is one in a million. You know, I did American Graffiti, and then before Graffiti came out, I did a couple of movies of the week. And probably the most iconic one is Go Ask Alice, which was a movie of the week based on that book. And of course, you know, Go Ask Alice, the song. So I played the baby hooker in the park. And I remember that. I just remember this stuff like it was yesterday, but it also seems like a lifetime ago. But yes, then One Day at a Time came along. And, you know, my manager at the time said, oh, you know, you'll just take this little TV show. It probably won't go anywhere, and it'll get you through to 18 years old. And then you won't be bound by, you know, the child labor laws. And then you can, and One Day at a Time ran for 9 years. So that was a thing.
Yeah, that was a thing. Like, since you remember things so well, like, what are some of your, like, do you have like a best memory or some best memories from that show?
Well, you know, I grew up on that show. So Valerie Bertinelli and I went to school together, just the two of us in an office with a teacher that was right next door to the rehearsal hall. And I took my Waldorf curriculum with me into the schoolroom. So I was studying art theory and Greek mythology and, you know, learning ancient Greek in our studio teacher room. And Valerie had a public school curriculum that she brought with her. But we had a lot of fun in the schoolroom. And then we'd have to do school in certain amount of time blocks in order for it to count towards, you know, your day of school. And then we'd be brought back into the rehearsal hall. And, you know, I mean, I have absolutely wonderful memories of One Day at a Time. It was like the family that I never really had, that sort of nuclear family who held you accountable. And, you know, but I was, you know, I was on the front end of a raging substance use disorder that would continue on for many years with a lot of stops and starts. And